Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. I'm currently standing in the kitchen cooking, and my daughter, I'm going to have to move a little bit. My daughter's going to have to make her lunch. But I thought we would talk about Spydercos because I've got a few Spydercos here, actually, to tell you the truth. I've got several ones I like a lot. I do have to admit, let me get this live chat set up. All messages are visible. I have to admit still, though, I'm still not... only one person. Where'd everybody go? Well, we won't start the topic until I start seeing comments and start seeing people. So, and if it's only like a couple people and I'm not seeing any comments, I'll just end it. It's a nice thing about doing these live feeds this way. If I'm not feeling it, I just don't do it. So... well, I figured Robert was here. I figured Robert was the one. Robert, your comments, bro. Like, your comments. Eugene Krabs. I love Spyderco. I like them. I just still, like, even as much as I like this PM2, as good as the PM2 is, I still can't justify that this is $150. This is $100 to $150 knife. Maybe 150 because it's an S90V. It's not a $250 knife is what the Sprint Run was. They're on sale, imagine, because they couldn't sell them. They're on sale for like $175, which is still more than I think I would pay for this knife in S90V. It's just too, it's so bare bones. Is it good? Yeah, it's good. Is it a 300, is it 250 good? Is it 200 good? No. And I know I said 300 in the video. Yeah, Robert, your comments on some of the videos I'm like, wow. It's like you put a bunch of words on ping pong balls and shook them up and just stuck them out, and I'm like, ah. The algorithm catches them as like, this makes no sense, and flags them, and I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. Let me see here. I want to pull this up so I can see the actual live chat on a different device, because sometimes when I'm doing it in the live feed, the live chat looks weird. So let's see. Every time it does this, every time. So live long and prosper. Did you know? Possibly you did, but did you know that the guy that played Spock, can't think of his name off the top of my head because of the new medication, it screws with your brain a little bit. But he based that hand symbol on something because he was Jewish, and he went to church the one time, and at a point where they're doing hands, the rabbis do something where you're not supposed to watch, and everybody's supposed to have their eyes closed. And so he was watching when he was supposed to have his eyes closed and saw them using this hand symbol, and he used it. Just they like come up with something. Leonard Nimoy, yeah, there you go. He came up with that as something that he had seen in a Jewish church. He'd seen a rabbi do it because he wasn't supposed to. I think it was the kids weren't supposed to be watching, and he had looked. But I did add a compression made easy on mine, and I do like it, but I can see some people might not like it. Like my buddy Tino doesn't like it. He's like, I can't, when I don't index the lock now. And I'm like, I just know where the lock is. So, but yeah, I've got a handful of Spydercos. And all of them, I have a special one to show you. All of them are of the Endura series, either the Police, the Endura, the Matriarch 2, and now the Andela, which this one got sharpened very, very badly by Zorro. I measured it, he took 2 millimeters of steel off this knife, and it still doesn't have a tip. So I may fix this, or I might see, I don't know, do you guys know, does Spyderco do replacement blades? Can I ask for a replacement blade for this? Is that something I can do? I don't know. I've never tried it. I've never had one that had been sharpened down 2 millimeters below standard. This is still one of the smoothest Enduras I've ever owned. This is that ZDP 189. And now I've sharpened this down a few times, and I think that I had said I thought the heat treat was bad. I think they just really burned the edge on this. Because now that I've resharpened this knife, like, I don't know, probably 5 times now, it seems to be definitely doing better. Guys, there are 10 people here and only 4 likes. If you're here and you're watching a video, you're hurting. If you're not liking videos that people you watch are putting up, if you watch a video for more than 30 seconds and you don't hit that like button, you are doing your creators that you like a disservice, because the algorithm is jacked, and the only sure way to help push things up the algorithm is to like their videos. Like, comment, share them, subscribe. That's the only way that the algorithm is wanked up right now. It is definitely screwed up. But I was going to tell you guys something I have noticed. And I thought I was going crazy, and I'm not. The knives that you get from Spyderco, based on model, have different sized thumb holes. And I've noticed this. So the Endella and the Endura that I have, and the Parith 2 have larger thumb holes than the Police and my Matriarch 2. And I thought I was going crazy. I was like, that seems so unusual, but it absolutely is true. I'm gonna go get them because I can't remember how much bigger they are. What? Well, oh, that's right. The battery's. Oh, never mind. I think the batteries are. Let me grab it. I think the batteries in it are dead. Now I haven't measured it myself, but I checked, and I was messing around online, and I was like, these feel weird. And then I saw somebody had posted that where are my calipers? That they had measured them and that they were larger. That there are some models that have larger holes. Where did my calipers go? I haven't used them in a while. There they are. So in transparency, I'm going off of the way they look and off of what somebody else had posted, but I absolutely 100% agree that the holes are different sizes. So on my, let's see here. Michael Gray, how are you, sir? Let's go ahead and zero these out. Turn these on, zero them out. So on, it is exactly 0.051 on this Endella. 0.051, right? On the Endella, and it is 0.047 on the Police. On my Para 2, 0.055, and on the Matriarch, it is 0.046. So I don't think it's different manufacturers, because the Endura that we measured that was larger was 0.050, is made in Seki City, Japan. And the Police that came in at 0.045 is made in Seki City, Japan. Same manufacturer, different model. So I don't know if maybe it's the pattern. Was that somebody said? Did notice. Now, is this the designer? You say it's different. Like I said, I don't think it's different manufacturer, because it's the same manufacturing place. So the Matriarch 2, it's the Enduras are bigger than the Police. and the Enduras are bigger than the Police, and they're bigger than the Matriarch. You can feel it when you put your thumb in it. It is a noticeable difference. Like I said, zero that back out. The Matriarch 2, 0.046. 0.046 and some change. Seki City, Japan, and the Endura, Seki City, Japan, 0.051. I think the largest one is the Para 2. 0.055 on the Para 2. 0.05515, actually. So I don't know. It's just weird that it's like that. So, and you would think, like you said, if different manufacturers, if one was made in Golden, Colorado, one was made in Japan, you would think that would be the difference, but it's not. Because all but one of my knives was made in Seki City, Japan. All but one of my Spydercos was made in Seki City. And it's the Para 2. But what I was saying is I bought the CME off of OCD for EDC's website, and I do like it, but I can see why some people wouldn't. I can see, like, in the closed position, it's not a big deal. You know exactly where it's at. In the open position, it almost makes it feel like you don't know where it's at until you're past it. You know what I mean? I don't have a problem with it. I've just gotten used to where it's at enough, familiarizing myself with the knife and break it in. Where's the Andela made? Seki City. So, but yeah, I still, even though I absolutely love that Para 2, absolutely love it. It's probably one of the best knives that Spyderco makes. It's absolutely one of the most comfortable folding knives. It's very, very secure. It's nice and light. It's got a superb blade for cutting. It's in a super steel. S90V is my favorite steel, period. I still would not pay. I wouldn't pay the sale price. This is like $15 more. Like, I would have a cutoff for this. It'd be $150. This particular knife, the Sprint Run, there's a couple places that have it where if you use Sezzle, it's on sale. If you make 4 payments, it's like $175 total. It's still $15 more than I'd be willing to pay for it. I would be hard and fast, no more than $150 for a Para 2. Especially if it's just in like some, just plain, like, my buddy's is an S90V. He's like, oh, mine's an S30V. And I was like, ooh. So, like, the Sprint Runs are anywhere, like, MSRP, anywhere between $200 and $250. I think these were $250. But there's another problem as well. Spyderco has the worst color choices when it comes to their Sprint Runs. The Sprint Runs are always hideous. So, what's you guys' favorite Spydercos? I'm not getting any interaction on this. Like I said, if this is going to be one of those live feeds where I've got to come up with the airtime, I'm not going to do it because I got so many other things I need to do today. Like, my daughter has a recital tonight for skating, and we're going there after my wife gets home. I'm going to get done. I'm making supper right now. I'm trying to get everything done so that we can just go. And it means I got to get the dog ready, and I got to finish a little bit of editing still from yesterday for the videos I shot yesterday. So if you guys aren't feeling it, if you're not wanting to drop comments and talk, that's fine. I will just end because there's 11 people here, 11 likes, and I have not gotten a comment since we talked about the hole size. Hey guys, I shot an ad for Coffee Brand Coffee, like an actual ad, like a no joke ad. I think it came out really well. You can check it out on my your Mannix and Rex 45. What was that? Joseph McDonald started something and then didn't finish it. I'll show you what I'm making. Now, I mean, I'm making my supper because this is chicken thighs, black-eyed peas, onions, tomatoes, habanero peppers, chili peppers, and a bunch of seasoning. 2A Dave has had this. It's pretty good. No, 2A Dave has not. Nico had this. So this is just getting started here in the crock pot. I'm just getting it up to temperature, and then I'm going to shred these chicken thighs here. Oh, probably about the time we finish with this, they should be done enough to just shred into pieces. And I'm going to put this on. I'm going to put these on a tostada with a bunch of other toppings. So what are we talking about here? What do we got? What do we got? Okay, so the AD was great. Oh, the ad was great. Yeah, the ad was great. Can I come over for dinner? No, I don't think so. I'm not inviting a bunch of random people to my house for dinner. So Para 3 owner, more into the Spyderco sharpening stones. I like the Spyderco sharpening stones too, the ceramic ones. I like the Para 2. I like the military. I think I would love a full-size. I don't know though at this point. Like the military is big. The Para 3. This suffers from a definite blade to handle ratio issue, and I can get by it because it's really a good knife and it's still got a lot of decent blade length. Problem I have with the Para 3 is the handle is just about the same size as this, but the blade is, and I don't like it. It's definitely too short and stubby. I would like to have had this blade be, like if they had gotten rid of that tube, I think Nick Shabazz talked about it. There's so much space in here. Like the blade ends, like right here. They could have put a lot more in there. They could put a lot more in there blade-wise. I think that the military is just about the right. It more bridges that gap of what I would want, but it's almost too big. I do like the military a lot. I always did. But I think I like this for use better than I like the military, but definitely like the military. Just I think that this is better. But overall, my favorite Spyderco is the police. This is just like when I think and it's not a function thing. It's just when I think of a Spyderco, this was the Spyderco I always wanted. I always wanted one of these, but I could, once again, never justify the price. And I think that's where Spyderco misses out on a chunk of the market is their knives really, they're good, but they don't. Let's put this in perspective. MSRP, I do know, MSRP on this is $275, I think, was $275 for the sprint run, but anywhere between $250, $275. Regular price, anywhere between $175 and $200. Keep that in mind, right? There are so many knives at that price point. Allow me to demonstrate. There are so many knives at the price point that aren't necessarily that they're that much better. But then you get into stuff where you start looking at, when you start getting bells and whistles, like this is where Spyderco is getting screwed. And I do know that they have their stuff made in the US, but PM2. I know they have a lot of stuff made in the US, but they have a lot of stuff made in Taiwan, and which is a much cheaper option. And they have stuff made in Japan, not necessarily a cheaper option, but I can get a button lock Stinger for, I forget how much these wound up being. I'm trying to look at the price for Fair and Forge Knife Works. Shop now, $194. So on sale, like I said, regular price for this I think was $275. On sale, I saw this for $175, and I think they couldn't sell it because it had the ugly teal, which was why is it a discounted price. The handles on this were hideous. They were this baby blue teal. This is $194, and you're getting beautiful full titanium and carbon fiber button lock that is really, really well done. Nice and light, a lot of weight reduction because of the big, thick chunks of carbon fiber that are in this. So, no, it's not larger, it's thicker. It is exactly the same dimensions as the previous Stinger. But the it's thicker because they had to incorporate the button. So it's nice and light though, because I can tell you right now, I guarantee these are thick slabs because this thing is really light compared to how thick it is across the spine. And it's a clamshell. Here, I can do this. I'll turn this around. It's a clamshell. And you can see they didn't do weight reduction inside the scales. So that means that these are thick pieces of carbon. Those aren't just like thin little pieces of carbon fiber. Judging by the weight, they milled that out nice and deep. And then they cupped the button, which gives it a really good feel. So I dig this. I dig this a lot. So that's what I'm saying. Like, what am I going to spend from the, like I said, MSRP? You can find this anywhere between $175 and $250, right? In that plain Jane, I can get this. Now, granted, this is an S90V, which is my favorite steel. I did have somebody make a comment that I thought was strange, and they were like, can we talk about the proprietary geometry that Spyderco does that no one else does? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And they were talking about like this leaf blade that comes down and comes down to a point and then the blade tapers. And I was like, that's just a distal taper. And I'm going to tell you right now, drops down, point marries up, leaf-shaped blade, and the blade thins from heel to tip. It's the same thing. Do I sharpen all the way to the plunge on my Spydercos? If you can. Spydercos also, another reason that I don't think they're worth the price. Let me make sure I can keep this in focus and show you exactly what I'm talking about. I do not own a Spyderco that does not suffer from this issue. See that right there? It's sharp. I've sharpened it. My edge goes all the way to the apex on both sides. You can see I've hit the very top of that, but there's always a low spot right here, and you bust your stones up. I've chipped all of my stones doing this. This will wind up with a sharpening choil, I believe. I'm going to do a little, I'm going to basically do what I did on this ZDP one. No, that's not mine. That's the one that's all fucked up. This ZDP 189 one. You see what I did there? That's what I'm going to do. And it's still not perfect. You still can't, like, it's still low on this one. But I don't really worry about that because I'm not necessarily using that much. Let me see if I can get it focused. I've got it sharp, but there's still a low spot there, as you can see. And all of my Spydercos are only sharpened to about 800 grit, I believe. All these are sharpened to 800. I think all of them are sharpened to 800 except this one. This one's at 1,000. S90V does really good right at 1,000 on a 1,000 grit diamond stone. So I have some 1,000 grit centered diamond stones. But yeah, if you can, yeah, I try to sharpen all the way back there, but it's just hideous. I think the worst one is this one. I think this is the worst one. Yeah, this is the worst one. Let me flip it around and show you what I'm talking about. Make sure that you guys can see it. Can you see? Like, I haven't even removed the factory edge there. There's just, it's so badly low there. You can see that it like recurves in on that. And it just makes it a nightmare to try and sharpen that. So I give it a few sharpenings, and when it really starts to bother me, like when I look at it and my knife autism kicks in and I look at it and I'm like, I can't stand to look at that anymore. I'll cut a notch in it. On this one, it doesn't bother me as bad because you've got so much blade. It just drives me nuts that they can't do a better plunge. And I absolutely love this knife, but that finger choil thing that's here, that finger guard, just absolutely in the way of sharpening. I honestly thought to myself, it won't affect the action of a knife. It doesn't touch anything. It's not an integral part, I don't believe, that touches anything. I'm going to take it apart and look and make sure, just for certain, to be 100% sure that that doesn't affect anything. I believe I'm going to grind that off. I don't need it. I believe I'm going to grind that off and down just because I don't hold the knife like this. It's cool that they gave that to you, but I have not held that knife like that once. This is the only place I hold that knife. It's one of the few knives that I don't utilize the choil on. I don't utilize the choil on it, so why even need it? Do you need the kitchen? Well, I can go sit on the couch with the dog. Never been a fan of Spyderco finger choil on most of their knives. But the thing is, like I said, this is the only one I've ever handled that had one. Never any of the other knives. I don't know. Oh, is Alice leaving? Oh, yeah, that's right. She said she had a headache. I mean, they could easily, their plunges, they could easily do like this. No issue on this. All right, and much more expensive. God damn, that thing is sharp. Guys, I haven't seen this in a while. I haven't seen the Norseman out in the wild. Just Nate, almost forgot about the live. Thank you very much, sir. I don't have a bell or anything out here. The dog is sleeping, so I wouldn't ring it anyway. So let's go back here to my channel and pull this up so I can see the comments live, because it screws it up for some reason. Guys, if you can afford to drop super chats on people that you like on their live feeds, absolutely do so. It helps support the channel, because YouTube really screws us on our ad revenue lately. But it also, like, it makes us happy to see that you enjoy what we're doing. But yeah, and if you're just here, like, I see that the view count is going up and down. If you're just dropping in, drop a like. Drop a like. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna put these knives back in the garage, and I'm gonna take you guys out to the yard for a minute. I want to see. I'm curious to see how our internet has been weird. Our Wi-Fi has not been working well, and I'm curious to see where I start losing it. So if you guys tell me that I'm getting a bit glitchy, I'll start coming back in. I just want to see how far, because I would like to be able to do a live feed from the yard, and this gives my daughter a chance to make her lunch. So I'd like to just take like everything out and do like an actual live feed from the yard, because now that it's not warm, it's not hot, it's still kind of chilly during the day. It's only 67 degrees right now. I can't. There they are. I'll find my reading glasses. I'll find my old man spectacles. Ooh, it's a bright day out. Oh, it's a nice day out. So I have been spending a lot of time here lately, and I had to keep the dog from getting underneath, because he wanted to crawl underneath and just sit there. So I put that crate there. But I've spent a lot of time lately just sitting out here with the dog, and I was like, it would be really nice to just be able to do live feeds out here. Oh, hey, look. Hey, buddy. Hey, Chunk. So it'd be nice to be able to do some live feeds out here. I drink my morning coffee out here. I sit here and I drink my morning coffee on this bench. So, especially like when it's a nice, cool morning. Like it's like this morning, it was like 59 degrees. I sat out here, drank my coffee, and I was like, this is nice. I like having a yard, and I haven't used it much. And I gotta tell you why. I hadn't told you guys about this and hadn't really said anything, but my anxiety had gotten really bad, and I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't go outside. I didn't want to interact with people. I didn't want to talk with people. I had a hard time even doing the live feeds and not being like overly, like I didn't even want to deal with people, and my anxiety had kicked up, and I was having all this nerve pain. You guys remember I've talked about all the nerve pain I have. The doctor put me on a medication that fills up 3 of my. I only have to take 1 medication as opposed to 3 now. I weaned myself off of a while ago my anti-anxiety meds, my anxiety medication, because I didn't like the way it made me feel. So the doctor was like, well, we can take care of the nerve pain, we can take care of the anxiety, and we can take care of your seizure medicine with an addition. So instead of taking 4 separate medicines, I'm taking 2. I take gabapentin now, which works for the anti-anxiety, helps with the nerve pain, and it's an anti-seizure. So I've felt so much better. I've gotten, if you guys follow me on the Gilded server, I've definitely been more into being on the Gilded server again. And I absolutely started doing things like, what day was it? Monday? We didn't have a live feed Monday, remember? We didn't have a live feed on Monday. We had just a video that went up. Well, that's because I went on about 100-mile round trip drive to every military exchange in the San Diego area to look at what knives were available. And they didn't have much, but it was just the fun. It was just the fun of making the drive, and I wound up with 49 different segments. And I stopped at Ferrum Forge. It was the first time I had seen Chris in well over a year, because I just had my anxiety got to the point where I didn't even want to go outside. So now I'm feeling a lot better. I think it's going to show in the live feeds. And I may not do as many live feeds because there might be stuff that I want to do. Like today, I'm not gonna lie, guys. My daughter has had several performances that she's done. I didn't go. Because just the idea of going and being at some place where there were other people just was not something I was into. And so, you know, I've mentioned that I have the depression and the anxiety and stuff. It had gotten a bit much. The medication I was taking before just didn't seem to do anything. This seems to be a much more gentle. The problem with a lot of the anti-anxiety meds is there's no gentle ones, really. What happens is you take it and you're like, you just don't like the way you feel, but you don't have the anxiety. Now, the one like gabapentin seems to be a much more gentle medication. It doesn't seem to have the overpowering effects as some of the other ones do. And yes, Mr. Claringer, that boy's getting big. Chunk, come here. Come here, or do you want to just lay in the sun? You want to come here? 36 pounds. He was 36 pounds 2 days ago. At 14 weeks. 36 pounds at 14 weeks. I just don't want to be around people in general. Yeah, I mean, I can understand. I'm not like, you guys aren't having a problem with the signal or anything? Come here. Hey, bud. Psst, psst, psst. Come here. Are you just gonna sit there and scratch? You sit there and scratch? Oh, you are gonna come over. Come here. Come here, buddy. Oh, we gotta make wee. You guys didn't need to see that. Signal's clear? All right, cool. It's nice out here, though. That's the beautiful area. If you guys haven't noticed, a lot of times thumbnails are filmed. Thumbnails are shot right there. The little clip that you see in the intro is filmed right over here. I usually just bring them over here to the tiered little flower bed area where these white roses are. The white roses, I believe, have cross-pollinated with the red rose here and the red roses in the front. And now I have got pink roses. And this is the first year we've ever had that happen. They've always just been stark, snowy white. And this year they're pink. But this rose all of a sudden has decided to come out of hybrid. This is the first year we've ever, so we've lived here for two years now. So 3 spring and summers. This is our 3rd summer, coming into our 3rd year. This is the first time that this rose has sprouted at all. So I don't know if it's because we got more rain this year than typical or what, but, and then we've got little flowers in the yard that I've never noticed before. But yeah, this is basically where I hang out. What you doing, bud? Want to say hi to everybody? Hey. Don't roll in the dirt. Come on. What was that? What was that you said? It looks like San Diego weather is great. Be glad you're not in the Ohio, Pittsburgh area where you're getting smoked from the Canadian fires. Air quality is bad today. Air quality is always bad here. I'm honestly a 30-minute walk from the border. And the air quality here is always bad because they don't have the regulations and stuff in Tijuana that they have here. And so there's open burn and it's just always smooth. Hey, see, now you got all those stickers in your fur. Come on, let's go in the house. Up, get up, get up, get up. He gets all these little, we used to call them Spanish needles. Little burrs. Up, chunk, up, get up, come on. Buddy, up, come on. No, up, up. I'm not letting you back in the house like that. You're just covered in them. Come here. You stay out there then. He won't even get up. Don't let him in. He's covered. He won't stop rolling. He just is laying in those stickers, in the burrs. He's covered them. Super hazy from the Canadian fires. I have a friend that lives up north. North Dakota, I think. And he says he remembers a couple years ago when they had the fires in Canada. Here, a few years ago, I should say. He says he remembers it being like that. But like North Dakota is not close. I know it's like on the... Yeah, but I remember the year that my daughter was born, we had the huge fires here. And it was really, really bad. We had some really big fires here. And like it looked like it was snowing. There was ash and stuff. And guys, if you're just dropping in, hit that like button. I've said it a bunch of times. It's the best thing you can do for a channel is to hit the like button because it forces YouTube to push us up the algorithm because the algorithm's screwed up right now. So, Chunk, come here. Come here. No. Oh, Jesus Christ. Every time I go over there, he just rolls on his back again. Come here. Come here. Stop. Right there. Look at this. Look at this dummy. No. Oh, God damn it. He's just covered. Chunk, no. Guys, I'm probably going to have to end this because I'm going to have to clean him up. Oh. You got to go back outside, bud. You can't stay in here. Come on. Up. Out. You're going back out. Out. Out, 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 out. Jesus Christ, he's just covered. He's just covered in them. I'm just going to leave him out there. What is that? Oh, wow, shit is everywhere. I'm trying to show your comment, but the comments are all screwed up and they're locked again. I don't know what's going on with... I don't know what's going on with the comments. It's frozen. Comments were frozen. So oh, he's just covered in those things. Now they're all over the place. You know the little burrs, these little spiky burr seed pod things? He's just covered in them. So I can't even read the comments now. They're all screwed up. I don't know. YouTube has been horrible lately. So not only is their algorithm all screwed up, they're not showing stuff. Like I've put up shorts that that same typical type of short, same title type, same thumbnail type, everything gets literally 1,000 views in the first 20 minutes. I've put those same ones up and they get like 4 views. And I'm like, what's going on? I'll put one up of the dog. It'll get like 2,200 views in the first 30 minutes. I put them up the same thing, the dog or the cat, and I put up and I tag it as pets, 22 views. I don't know what's going on with their stuff. I don't know what they're doing wrong. I don't know how they've screwed it up as of late, but they really, really have. And it's gotten bad. And that's why I say, just if you're watching the channel, just drop a like. And it helps push it up. And if you can afford to drop super chats on, if you're going on some of the channels that rely on it, like mine or Choir Boy Cutlery or Jared's channel, that because Jared lives off of all the YouTube revenue, just drop a super chat if you can afford to. But yeah, it's been really hard to get anything to work on YouTube correctly. And they, instead of what YouTube's doing that really is screwing with content creators, is they do something and then they don't give it time for us to adjust to it. So we've just started wrapping our head around what was going on with the last round of changes, right? Like, oh, well, okay, I need to do this, and these are the things that I need to do, and this is how I use the thumbnails and the tags, and this is what they're recommending, so I've got to kind of generate my content kind of in that direction, and things like that. And then by the time you even start making content that will hit the wickets that they've changed to, they change it again. And they're like, oh no, well, that didn't work. And I was like, well, nothing's going to work if you don't give it time. You got to give the creators time to adapt to the new changes. But what it does is, so they do a change and then your views drop. So your revenue drops. And so your ads drop and everything drops. And then when you get it to where you start to see a pickup, then they change, like, oh, that didn't work. And then you crater all over again. And that's what's causing all of us creators to get upset and say, this is getting ridiculous. Because since April, they've changed it 3 times. And every time I can see that dramatic drop in views, in interactions, in impressions, in revenue. And they do it every time, and you can just see. And so what it's led to is most of us are seeing about a 40 to 60% decrease in what we were making on YouTube. Like I was doing fine, and now I've dropped that, and I'm really having to play catch up. That's why I'm glad I have the memberships. Like you guys they're in on the memberships. I really can't tell you how much I appreciate that. That's really cool. And Rocky has donated a lot of memberships, but if you get donated a membership, take advantage of it. I do a lot of stuff. Tell you the truth, I see what other channels do. I absolutely think that I do more than a lot of other channels when it comes to what you get on memberships. And if you're gifted a membership, if Rocky gifted you a membership and you didn't go to the community tab and find the members only stuff, or go to the members section on my main channel and find a link to the Gilded server, you're not going to get, that is the key. That is the pipeline to the other benefits, because the other benefits all are done on the Gilded server. I do the members giveaways there. I post up links to the members videos. Like if you see, I've given the guys, the paying members can tell you, I've given away a couple of knives that are well into the $200 mark, $150, $200 mark that I've given away. And I'm like, okay, this is the person, but if you don't let me know, within 24 hours, you're not entered. So if you're a baseline or premium tier member, and you're not on the Gilded server, and you don't respond back that you're like, hey, I won the members giveaway, you're not getting the item. And so, like, Rocky has basically gifted so many chances, and he just did it again. Rocky has gifted so many chances for you guys to win something cool, and no one takes advantage of it. So I would rather see, thank you very much, Rocky. I appreciate that. I would rather see you guys pay, if you guys are dropping like a $5 super chat, that's a 1 month. That is a 1 month baseline membership, I believe. I think it's $2.99. I think it's $2.99 for just looking. I think it's $5.99 for baseline, and it's $15. I think it's $15. I might have that backwards. It might be 5, 10, and 15. It might be 5, 10, and 15 for the memberships. But at any rate, if you're paying $5, that's like a free just looking. $10 gets you in on giveaways. $15 gets you in on all of that, plus my sharpening tutorial that's here on YouTube. So, oh, 22nd, guys. The 22nd. Swags is going to be there. Did he pay you the money? Did he like reimburse you for your tattoo? I think you won on a YouTube feed one time and didn't respond back, and I had to pick someone else. And if you guys did win the other day, tomorrow I'm planning on doing shipping tomorrow. So if you won on Saturday when I did the Saturday when I gave away the coffee, so it's been a week. Saturday was a week. I've got everything ready. I've got all the emails and everything found, and I'm gonna start packing stuff up this evening, and then have everything ready to go for shipping out tomorrow. So if you won something a couple Saturdays ago, like the free coffee and the knives that I had slated, I will absolutely be getting those out before too long. They're going to come first class mail though. So I have got really bad heartburn, like really bad. Isabel, when you get a chance, can you take the brush and brush all those things off of him? He's just laying in the dirt. So, I like the Gilded server. I think the Gilded server is the best benefit. And I've told like 4 or 5 other knife channels, like, just set up a Gilded server. And like, oh, I don't know. I was like, bro, they were like, well, it sounds difficult. I was like, bro, it's free. And if I can do it, you can do it, and it allows all the pay. The only thing you have to do is just figure out how you're going to grant access. And that's it. Let me ask you guys a question. Do you actually like Timascus, or did you like it when it was a fad? Because I, at one point, was on John Grimsmo's books to have my Norseman that he was going to make for me in full Timascus. The Timascus pocket clip with this moved up to here, and my rating badge from the Navy here. And I'm glad I didn't wind up getting that, because the fact is, now I kind of have reached a point where I'm like, you know, I'm okay with like a Timascus clip or a Timascus pivot collar or a small Timascus inlay, but to have it be completely in Timascus, I've gotten the same way about, like, I like Damascus. I liked the Damasteel and the powdered Damascus look steels when they came out. But I've gotten to a point where I just think it's over the top, and it really isn't anything that, it's not performance based. And do I like the CME? Yes, absolutely. If you have a compression lock, I recommend it. It changes the way you can interact with it. It's much easier to do it, and it takes that and turns it into an ambidextrous lock. You don't have to, like, completely, like, stick your thumb all the way in and then you're just basically pinched on that. It makes that a much more ambidextrous lock. It turns it almost into a left-handed button lock, if you want to look at it that way. So just picture that is there. So I put it back up. So that is there where your button kind of would be, just a little south of where your button would be. And so now, and one of the things that I've always liked about the button lock is if you're left-handed, you can just push the button with your index finger. It basically turns this into a left-handed button lock. So I'm making some coffee. And I absolutely dig that. And it does, one of the problems that I had with this was that you had to reach in on the edge of that. And when I would reach in, it was sharp. This, you're just putting the pressure on that. And it's much, much better with the CME on it. How does it attach to the lock? With super glue. It is the simplest thing I've ever done. It is the simplest thing I've ever done to modify a knife in any way, shape, or form. It comes with instructions, but Justin has a video on how to do it. And I watched the video before I ordered one, and I was like, oh, that's simple. And the nice thing is it comes right off. If you don't want it on there, you just can pop it right off and then clean up and then put it in a bag. If you want to install it later, you just put more super glue on it. You just need like 3 drops of super glue. I put a lot of super glue on mine. I did not adhere to I didn't adhere to Justin's 2 or 3 drops. I'm like, I'm going to cover the whole back of that thing in, I'm going to just cover the entire back of that thing in super glue. And it's on there. I tried prying on it. Even because you want to let the glue cure for like 8 hours. I was like, yep, that's not coming off of there. I used a pry bar. So basically what you do is you take a piece of printer paper and you curve it and you stick it in to give yourself enough gap. Use it like a shim, and you give yourself a gap, right? And then you slide the thing in with super glue on the back of the CME, and you slide it on there, and you just line it up with the flat top of the lock bar, and then you just walk away from it, put it on your counter, and pick it up the next morning, and it's just on there. And as long as you're not prying, and that's the nice thing about super glue. Super glue's strength is it doesn't have a lot of tensile strength, like sideways. And so it stays on there. And if it comes off, you just re-glue it. I'm not drinking the coffee brand coffee. I have some Death Wish coffee that came to me. You slammed the thumbs up button like it was a college chick on spring break. Alrighty, alright, alright. So I had to go to scuba school to take one of my sets of orders. It was Spec War support But part of it was we had to be qualified scuba. And I was already married. I went to Panama City, Florida for scuba school, for the Navy scuba school. And it was spring break. And all of the young single sailors that were there at school with me, like I was well into my 30s. I was well into my 30s. I was probably 30, 31, 32, maybe 33, 34-ish. I was well into my 30s. And I go to this school, and all these kids, all these youngsters are going out at night and just, they're telling these kids, because a bunch of the guys were like EOD and stuff like that. And they're just telling these chicks, oh yeah, Navy Special Forces, and I do this and I do that. And they're coming into class the next day, and they just look like they had been rode hard and put away wet. And I was telling one of the guys, I was like, I was like, sometimes I'm jealous of you guys. And the guy looked at me and goes, bro, I woke up this morning and realized we had to go dive. And he goes, I'm jealous of you. He's like, you got a full night's sleep. And I was like, yeah, but you were with a college cheerleader till 4 a.m. He goes, yeah, I was. I was like, you son of a bitch. Panama City, Florida in spring break. That's a unique place. I would go out on a Friday night. And go have a few drinks while I was at that school. And it was just, I was like, Jesus Christ. I could not. I was like, I would have failed out. If I was single, I would have failed out of that school. I'd have been chasing tail. It's just, like right now, like if I have a beer before bed, I'm going to wake up the next day and feel like shit. When I was their age, when I was in my early 20s, I could drink till 5 a.m., sleep till 6, get up, work an 8 to 10 hour day and do it all over again, and then sleep maybe once a week. I'm like, there's just no way I could keep up with those kids now. Hell. I couldn't. At this point, I couldn't keep up with myself at that age. Oh, I will have to say that, yes, absolutely, I will agree with you. I was as well. I'm going to post that. Ooh, hey, I got one of them sticker things in my socks. Did you get him all cleaned up, baby? Thank you. I appreciate it. He just wouldn't, I couldn't do it one-handed, and he wouldn't get up off the ground for me. He just wanted to roll in them. Are you just brushing him because he likes it? He likes being brushed. I wasn't sober. I had news for you. I went out one night when I was 19. I went out drinking one night when I was like, well, who am I joking? I was 18. I went out drinking because overseas you could drink. It didn't matter. Like they didn't. There was a sign on the base bar, not the club. We didn't have a club. We had a bar. It was like a honky tonk. There was a bar with seats, and then there were seats in the area. You went there to drink. You didn't go there to dance. You didn't go there to socialize. You didn't go there to listen to music. You went there to get a start on the night before you went out in town, because beers were like 50 cents, maybe $1. And so that place would open at noon, and they had a sign on the door that said, no one under the age of 17 allowed without military ID. Yes, or 18, under the age of 18 without active duty military ID. I went out one time when I was 18 and went drinking and woke up 28 and married. I was like, wow, what a night. So Did anybody get anything new? Like I said, I have the new Stinger. I have the new Stinger button lock from Spyderco, or from Fair and Forge Knife Works. If you gave me a choice between a good cup of coffee, like the one I'm drinking right now, because I have to admit that Valhalla from Black Rifle Coffee Company is delightful. If you gave me a choice between your average American beer and a good cup of coffee, I'm going to take coffee every fucking time. Now, there are some exceptions. If you offer me a Victoria, a Corona Familiar, those I'm going to take because those are delicious. 2A Dave will come up and we'll get, like, before I quit drinking, 2A Dave, because I had some, but I'm not drinking again because the gabapentin I'm not supposed to drink. At any rate, Dave and I were standing here and we had bought a 12-pack of Victoria. And we cracked the first one. They're ice cold. We cracked the first one, poured them in a glass, took a big drink of it, and we looked at each other and was like, why isn't every beer a Mexican lager? Like, why isn't it? Why? Every beer should taste like this. It is very good. But that's the exception. But yeah, at this point, I'd take a really good cup of coffee. Speaking of coffee, go check out Coffee Brand Coffee. Coupon code Crazy Sharp. There is a big sale coming up the weekend. I think 4th of July sale is coming up. But yeah, this is my newest thing. I did just do an unboxing of this Stinger button lock, and I want to give you guys a heads up. I think I mentioned it. I did not buy this, so you can only imagine. This is probably the nicest one. I think this is probably the nicest one they had in the shop at the time. I say that, but I literally watched Chris, like, I have to give you that disclaimer. I literally watched Chris just go grab one off the shelf and then pull it out and make sure, like, he did this and then looked at the edge, just like they do with everyone. They do with everyone before they pack them. I've watched them do it. Chris and Elliot will do this. They inspect all of them when they arrive, and just for various issues and defects. And then when somebody orders one, before they pack it up, Chris will give it a quick check, make sure that the pivot's not loose, make sure there's no blade play, make sure there's no blade rattle, and then look at the edge from side to side, make sure it's consistent, and do one of these, and then put it right back in the box and send it out. That's all he did. So it's not like he went rummaging or had one that they had marked that was the best looking one. So you're going to see a lot about this knife because I like it. And I think Elliot and Chris are working on getting me an affiliate link so you can purchase it directly from their site. So for companies that I know and I like I could always point you in the direction of a vendor where I make an affiliate for Daniel's knife, the Warrentac, but I don't. Because the fact is, I know that they wind up getting screwed by those vendors. So, and if you guys have not dropped a like yet, I'd really appreciate it. I'm probably going to end this here in just a minute. I've lost a lot of the manual dexterity. Okay, Mark. I've really gotten frustrated with a lot of people, and I'm not just calling you out. I really get frustrated when people do this. Did you take that knife and immediately contact their support? Because while I do know that people are going on and complaining, they have almost zero U.S. support. Not true. So they actually do support their customers. They don't want to have that listed, and a lot of people are going and saying that their customer support is non-existent. I have contacted their customer support on numerous occasions. I have helped people contact their customer support on numerous occasions, and I absolutely do know that they do customer support and they will replace knives if you have a problem with it. So I'm not calling you out, it just happened to pop in. So I'm asking, it came with weak D10. did you reach out to them and tell them that there was an issue with the knife? Because they will honor that warranty. But the other thing you got to remember is they have a definite increase in the amount of sales that have been happening, because the Pyrite and the Echo and the Riff and the button locks are absolutely more popular than their other models, and so they're getting a lot more. The guys that do the customer service are also some of the guys that do the order processing, so they're working on that. So if you send one email and then you don't get a response, send another one. I just get really frustrated when people immediately just come out and argue. I'm not trying to call you out. I'm just questioning. Nice center exclusive Hogue Deca Gen 2 with magnet cut and red larva. Here's the thing. Knife Center isn't sending me stuff. I can't even get them to give me an affiliate link. They won't. I'm like, so unless I get one sent to me from them for free, you're not going to see it on the channel. And it's not just me trying to get knives. Like I said, the YouTube revenue has dropped off 40 to 60%. I can't buy stuff for the channel anymore. I can't. For a while I did. For a while it was doing good. Everything was fine. I cannot afford to do that anymore at all. It is untenable. I think this chicken is just about ready for me to start shredding it. Get a plate out. Get a plate out, 2 forks, and we'll shred them chicken thighs. So I would love to see it. I liked the Deca. I don't think I like the Hogue Deca as much as some other knives. Okay, so that brings up a point. Hogue Deca. What's your current EDC fixed blade? So I saw some. I thought you. I didn't answer that. I'm sorry. My Sea Snake is one of my favorite designs. That you know, for a small fixed blade. But my current favorite small fixed blade is not my Sea Snake. It's a toss-up between the two I just grabbed. It's a toss-up between these two because they're both really, really good. And it's the Cerberus Knives MAFB. It's the Mini Arian Fixed Blade. MAFB in this Butterscotch G10. So this one, and it's an S90V. This is my current carry. It's on my waistband a lot. This is in my pocket a lot. Or the Le Sanction. This spends a lot of time. I carry this as if I'm carrying a folding knife. This goes in my front pocket a lot. N690. This is that Bastinelli design. These are my 2 favorite. Yeah, I did a full video about this MAFB. This was a gift to me from Chris over at Cerberus Knives. And this thing is stupid thin behind the edge, guys. Check this out. And this is one of the things I love about it. That thing comes down, almost disappears behind the edge. Oh, did he? I can't see. I'm not seeing all of the memberships. I'm not seeing memberships. Let me see. Let me pull this back up and see. Huh. Cool. So we've gotten 6. Just an opinion for $50, not worth the hassle. Well, and see that's the thing. And so I've asked people that. So I'm seeing your thing. S90V on this one. So this is S90V, ridiculously thin behind the edge. It's milled down really, really nicely. Nice distal taper on it. Butterscotch G10 here. Butterscotch G10. I got this one because this was this has artifacts in it from he was trying to remove the milling lines. So this was kind of a prototype. Butterscotch G10, S90V, really nice taper, super thin behind the edge. It's great. And then this one is in the green, like green canvas micarta or green burlap micarta, and N690 cobalt on that, N690 CO. This is an amazing, amazing knife. I wish that they were not a discontinued model. Like, you can still find these. This Acheron Bastinelli L'Ascension. It's done by Viper Knives. Yeah, so it's made by Viper in Italy for Acheron in France. And it's a Bastinelli design from the United States here in Florida. But he's a French designer. So this may have come out before he came stateside. Yeah, I called out the Rocky one. Did he do another 5? Because I know he donated 5 before. And I mentioned it. Yeah, I mentioned that that Rocky had donated 5. This is most recent Spyderco reveal. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the new Spyderco reveal. Either a sea snake. Okay, so Todd Carr says for my EDC fixed blade is either the sea snake or my Papa Bear Knives Pocket Lucky. Problem I have is I don't have enough soft loops. I need to order some more soft loops because it's kind of a pain to take the soft loops off one knife to another and then another. So this has one, and then I've got the soft loops that are on my sea snake, but I don't like the fast pack. I just didn't like. I don't know what it was about it. I just don't like it. But currently, I do have to admit, this is currently one of my favorite EDC in pocket. This is gonna be hard to get out of my pocket for a while. There's another knife that has been cycling back through my pocket again a lot. I had it in pocket when we first started this video, and I took it out to the garage. And it's going right back in my pocket. And that is this PMP Aries. And completely unsolicited, PMP Knives is sending me their Kodiak model. So I'm going to have a Kodiak coming. This has yet to get a final review video. This gets because it's mine now, so I can do the final review whenever. But I do want to get that review done so that you guys can see it, because it is such a very, very good knife. I at first did not think I was going to like this just because of the overall shape. It's so good. It is so good. I was skeptical when I got it. It was sent to me as a gift. I was skeptical when I got it, and just looking at it, and once it broke in and I opened it up, and I was like, oh, that's great. Oh, Democrats advanced bill to proposing to strip parents of their parental rights if they don't allow their children to transition. I'm like, look, I don't even want to get into that. Do you want to say hi? No. She does not want to say hi. She doesn't like any of you.
It's going to be a bunch of noise.
It's going to be a bunch of noise, she says. Yeah, I think this is up there with some of the best, with some of the best knives on the market. It's just, it's, as far as features, it's just, I still can't. It's like the Benchmade 940. Is it a good knife? Yes, it's an amazing knife. It's awesome. Is it worth what you're paying for it, what you're getting charged for what you get? No. In that, it's a lot like somebody's like, well, I remember you talking about how much you loved the Rat 2. I was like, I did love the Rat 1, the Ontario Rat 1. I did like it. At the time, it was up there, but there's so many better knives now at the price point. That's the problem I have. It's not that this isn't an amazing knife, and it's not that any of the Spydercos aren't amazing, and they do have some that definitely do. They have some really, that Bradley, is it the Gale Bradley M4? That's a Spyderco, right? Yeah, that knife, or is that a Benchmade? Am I getting them mixed up? Like that knife, either one of them, it's definitely worth what you pay, and it's not stupid expensive. There are some of their models that are absolutely worth what you pay for. I think that the stainless steel police model is worth what you pay for it. It's solid. It's a good, well-made knife. It's got a lot of stuff in it. Yeah, Todd Carr says that Hogue makes a better Benchmade than Benchmade. You're right, they do. Kaiser makes a better Benchmade than Benchmade. It's just that at the price point, the Ontario Rat 2, is it a good knife? It's an okay knife. At the price point, there's so many better knives you can get now. It's that they haven't evolved. They haven't changed what they're doing. They're doing super, super... But what you get with that knife, is insane. Like, you can say all you want about the blade shape. It's super, super functional. It works really well. It's a great all-around knife. What you get for that price is worth it. This is a cookie cutter type of thing that just doesn't demand the price. I really don't think it, and people are like, oh, well, it's because it's USA made. Look at the price of the Hogues compared to the price of the Spydercos. I do have to admit, like I said, there are some Spydercos that are worth the price, that are really, really good knives. I'm not at all going to lie about that. Like, I'm not going to say that they're all overpriced. Benchmade has a couple models that are worth it. The Narrows, no. The Anthem, no. The Benchmade Bug Out, $139 for that? No. And that's what I found it for on base. And what was that? I got news for you. Who makes the best Strider? Greg Medford makes the best Striders that have ever hit the market. I'm not a fan. I like Protex, but I have my issues with Protex. I have my issues with Protex. I'm not even going to try. David knows I have problems with Protex. I told him that at a knife show. I was like, you're running steels below what you're running steels well below what the recommended Rockwell is on MagnaCut. You did. You fucking sent out an entire run of very expensive knives. I've seen a lot of Protex break because their spring is too strong in them, and they don't at all take into consideration how much snap they're giving that knife, and how, like, if they don't shear off the stop pin, what's going to happen is you get some serious deformation, and then within a very short period of time, especially if you're running the Steel Soft, now you've got a maraca for a knife. So, but yeah, the best Striders that have ever hit the market were done by Greg Medford. I hate to admit it, they were running it soft. I sharpened Coles, and I sent it back to him, and he's like, wow, that's sharp. And I was like, it's not going to stay like that. I could tell when I was sharpening it, it just felt gummy. And you can tell when a steel is too soft. Like I was expecting so much more from it because I'd heard all the hype about MagnaCut. And I started to run it on the stones and I'm like, that just feels gummy. I don't know what I see. Everybody's complaining about M390. People are running it soft. I must have been lucky. And I have to admit, most of the M390 I got were from companies that were doing a good job with it. And 20 people are like, oh, 20 CV is this. The 20 CV that I have are all knives that I either know the maker or helped with the heat. There's several of the knives in my case that I did the heat treat on. Several of those Ferrum Forge knives that are in 20 CV, I actually did the heat treat on them for Elliot. Elliot's busy. He's doing stuff. I was like, do you want me to run heat treat for you? I've not got anything going on today. Yeah, absolutely. And I would run a cycle of heat treat for him and do 6 blades at a time. And I would do 2 cycles, you know, that day. I'd do 12 blades and help out. So I know for a fact that my Archbishop and my spinner that are in my case, I'm the one that did the heat treat on them. Because Elliot was like, just mark the ones that you did, and I put my initials in, and I watched the knives that they went into. So I know I did those heat treats. So I guess I've just been lucky enough to get good heat. Like somebody was saying that Microtech runs their M390 really soft. And I'm like, I've never had that happen. I've never had a Microtech that the heat treat felt off. My DOC that I sold to Will B, that LMAX, the heat treat on it, spot on. That stuff was amazing. Both of my Ultratechs my UTX 85 is in M390. My Ultratech is in LMAX. Never felt at all soft or anything like that. I've had 0 problems. Never buy a first production run Benchmade, ever. They always are screwed up. Let me get. Everyone says Microtech runs soft. They've tested several times over and running at 59. Everything's under 59. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying I've never gotten one. I've had 3 LMAX. No. More than that. I had several Ultratechs that were in LMAX. Heat treat on those were great. I had a Whale Shark, and I can't remember what steel that was in, but I want to say it was an M3. No, that was an LMAX. It was an LMAX because I got it at the same time I got my DOC. I had a Whale Shark, and it was so similar to the DOC. The DOC is what I really wanted. I got the Whale Shark. I sold the Whale Shark. Did not have an issue with the heat treat on that. Absolutely have had no issues with it. Is it different because of being fixed? No. We picked a heat. So the heat treat protocol that is on that 20 CV in the Stonefish is the same heat treat protocol that Reat used on their M390 in the Horizon D series. Because David, they went to the same heat treat place. So the heat treat that on that is the same. Elliot had come up with the heat treat protocol for that, for the production 20 CV. So the heat treat on that should be the same as what's on my Reat and all of the Wii knives that Elliot had made. So like all of what is it? I don't like LC200N. I don't like a lot of the nitrogen steels. I really don't. Elliot had done the Archbishop 2.0 and stuff like that. So those were done in 20 CV. That was the heat treat. Elliot set a heat treat protocol, and then when he talked to David Deng, apparently that is the same heat treat protocol that they were using on M390 on the Horizon Ds. And then David stepped away from using M390 because the heat treat protocol was expensive. M390 is expensive to heat treat because you have a multi-stage temper. It's not just, you don't just temper it once. I don't like a lot of the nitro steel. I don't like Nitro V. We're going to see how I feel about this. I'm not big on a lot of the nitrogen steels. Exception N690 Cobalt, N690. But the ones that I say, they just don't seem to be as durable. Like that H1 steel that Spyderco used for the Salt series, really bad. And guys, if you're just dropping in, please drop a like. It helps the channel immensely. Problem I've had with Nitro V is it's that nitrogen base. I was like, oh, it's supposed to be better for edge retention and corrosion. That's the big one. Is corrosion. Is just less corrosion. I've had it rust a lot worse on me than other steels. Like my prototype spinner that I have that's here, that's mine, that Elliot gave me to test, and when they released, he's like, no, you can keep that. I got plenty now. He's like, nothing changed. That's yours. I'm like, okay. I definitely, that is in 9CR, had no problems with it rusting. Knives that I've had in Nitro V and Nico, or not Nico, Tino said the same thing, my buddy Tino, have rusted a lot. And I don't know why, because the addition of the nitrogen is supposed to help with that. I have to admit, a lot of Spyderco's heat treats are spot on. This S90V, I've tested it, and since this is mine, this has been sharpened several times. I've sharpened it to different grits, different stones. Jared and I disagree on this. S90V, I think, is one of those stones that or one of those steels that you absolutely can still sharpen on a aluminum oxide stone. Especially if it's like the ones that I have, the corundum stones. It's like a much more crystallized version of aluminum oxide. It's more akin to sapphire. You can definitely get away with it on S90V, because S90V, as much as people, it originally was 440V. So it is a 440 steel variant. Everybody's like, oh, well, 9CR. Well, 9CR is really similar to 440. ATS 34, 154CM, and a lot of those are based off of the old 440C, 440, 420C, not 420J, but off the 440. And at one point, S90V's original nomenclature was 440V. And that, I'm telling you, like, it's based off those 440 steels. And so you get a really aggressive edge on any stone I've ever had. And I don't feel a difference. I've looked at it on my microscope. Unfortunately, my microscope will not work to do things on this computer that I have now, but I can use it still. And I don't see any issues with the edge starting to crack, like Jared said. I have a different opinion than a lot of people on the aluminum oxide stones. They get a bad rap because it's a way to sell people stones they don't need. There are some steels you absolutely need diamond for, but I think you can take the aluminum oxide stones further into that realm of super steels than a lot of people think, because aluminum oxide that has been vitrified into a point where it's called corundum, which is what my aluminum oxide stones use. Corundum. Corundum, if you look it up on the matrix, is what sapphires are made out of. Sapphires, rubies, emeralds, all are made from aluminum oxide that has been vitrified into corundum. Those corundum stones that I have are as hard as CBN. And therefore, there's no reason that I can't sharpen a lot of those stones. And Jared and I have talked about it, and I'm not going to get him to change his opinion. He's not going to get me to change my opinion. I'm old school. I think that whole thing came because people were like, oh, you got to use these stones. And I'm like, I don't think you do. Because if you look on the Mohs hardness scale, aluminum oxide is a 9. There are very few steels that their carbides are a 9 or a 9.5. Diamonds are a 10. Most of your carbides in your steels are an 8 or an 8.5-ish, but under 9 on the Mohs hardness scale. Now, will it make it faster to sharpen some of those super steels with a stone that is much more aggressive, like a diamond stone? Yes. But can you do it? You absolutely can. And I'm not gonna, like, I don't have to back that up with anything, because you can go look at the Mohs hardness scale. Sapphires. And then you go look, what are sapphires made out of? Sapphires are made out of aluminum oxide. What gives them their different color from sapphire to ruby to emerald is the elements that are impurities in that. I believe that the blue you get from sapphire, I can't remember what it is. Rubies are chromium. It's a chromium oxide that's in there that turns red. So, but yeah, I mean, everybody's welcome to their opinion. The fact is, too, like, a lot of people, now that Jared has brought it up, and I agree that it's the cracking, and it's not necessarily tear out, it's cracking, and that some of the substrate allows the carbides to crack and deform and come out. But by the time you're getting to that point, your knife is already not performing the way you want. It's already feeling dull, and you've probably already went back and resharpened. So, like, at that point, whether you're using diamond or not, it's still going to be getting dull by the time that would happen. Whether you use diamond or if you used aluminum oxide, you're already going to be having issues where you're like, this edge doesn't perform the way I want, and you're going to throw it back on the stone, whether you used a diamond or if you used aluminum oxide. How do they make black diamonds? I don't know, and if you're about to put up a joke, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to get kicked off of YouTube, but I am going to have to end, because I have got to pull this chicken out, shred it, put it back in, and let those beans cook for a while. I like MagnaCut too, if it's done well. I have to say, though, I'm a sucker for some of the really good, more budget steels. 14C 28N, 9CR, 12CR, and ones that get forgotten about. Like, I like 154. You just don't want to take it too high in the grid. It's got a pretty fine grain structure. Fucking AR RPM 9 is amazing. It really, really is. And people give it a bunch of shit. It's just a garbage steel. I've never had a steel that strops up as good as AR RPM 9. Look, see, you immediately go to racist. You don't have to be racist to make a joke. I don't know when humor defined your personality. If somebody tells me a joke and it's funny, I'm going to laugh at it. Daniel Tosh used to tell some of the most blue jokes, and everybody laughed at him. You know why? Because he made fun of everyone. I got some really good black fans, and they make fun of white people all the time, and I laugh my ass off because they're hilarious. And I do the same thing. I turn right back around and I throw back at them as good as I got. And guess what? At the end of the day, we both enjoy it. We know each, well, military guys, so yeah, we hack on each other all the time, so it doesn't matter. Any steel is good as any good as steel as long as retracted. So. But no, some of my favorite steels are some of the more budget ones. And a lot of times I'll tell you the big thing about a super steel, and if you guys have not dropped a like, I'd really appreciate it. The thing about a super steel is a lot of times you get a lot of benefits, but it's like these medicines that you see on the TV, like, take this for this and this, but these are your side effects. And you're like, I'm going to, what do you mean I'm going to squirt, what do you mean I'm going to squirt oil out of my butthole? What do you mean my pee-pee is going to bleed? There's some definite downsides to some of these super steels. Like, I still will tell you, I do not believe that anyone should ever make a knife in Maximet, except Big Brown Bear. I can tell you that right now. Because the fact is, you gotta, if you want to resharpen it, you gotta pack a fucking lunch. What was this? Demco UOS 10 is really bad. Yes, it was. I've had numerous people that sent me their OS 10 Demcos for sharpening, and I could not get it to do anything I wanted. You could not deburr it. It was horrible. So I absolutely agree with that. Rex 121 is same as Elmax. Rex 121 is the same as Elmax. Or Maximet, I mean. Rex 121, I would not buy a knife that's made in it because it takes so long. I mean, even like when I would do custom knives in 20 CV, I'm taking that shit up to 67 Rockwell and then tempering it back down to about 65, 66. When I did S125V, it was absolutely it keeps telling me another moderator. Don't put a curse word in. I can't fix it on here. I don't know why. If you're cursing, if you're putting shit in the comment, it's not coming through. If you're putting the word bitch in it, it's not going through. I don't know why, and it won't let me. If you look here, it says another moderator's handled it. I'm trying to hit show, and then it tells me another moderator handled this, and it's not showing up. I don't know why. Just don't curse. I can't. I don't know what's going on with it here. It's ridiculous. And now YouTube has crashed on my phone. And all I see is Thomas Connolly saying, well, thoughts on Rex 121, and that has popped up like 12 times. Like again and again and again and again and again. So thoughts on Rex 121, it's the same as Maximet, and Maximet is just almost impossible to sharpen. I wouldn't blame Demko. Here's the thing. Once again, this is another one of those things. Those were OEM knives. I've never seen a bad Demko. But those were Demko branded. Elliot did not make this knife. Elliot QA'd it, but I'm going to tell you right now, he did not test every one of these knives against a bunch of stuff. They QA all their knives because they are doing the OEM. But those knives, those Demkos, most of those Demkos, they didn't go right to John. They went to vendors from the manufacturer in Taichung, China. Or Taichung, Taiwan. So blaming a maker for a run of production knives that has issues really isn't the way to go. So, thoughts on 15V? I haven't got to see it yet. I have not gotten to see 15V yet at all. I have not even handled a knife in 15V. And the problem with it is the knives that I have seen in 15V, and we've talked about this, I don't like most of Spyderco's models. I love some Spyderco knives to death. The Endura, one of the best knives ever made. The Police, one of the most iconic knives ever made. This, probably one of the best knives on the market if you can get past the fact I think it's overpriced. I don't like many of their other models, and I've said this a bunch of times. The Gale Bradley in M4, great. This knife, great. I don't like most of their knives, and the thing is, the Native, the Shaman, all the knives that they're doing in it, I don't like. I just don't. I don't like those designs. I've never liked the Shaman. I've never liked the Native. So it's just really a matter of S145V? No. I've seen S45VN. I have not seen S145. They do use the same factory that Cold Steel was using, and you can tell by the overall feel of the knife. But I've never seen a Cold Steel knife in AUS 10, so I don't know. Things happen. AUS 10, here's the thing. AUS 10, not just Demko. There was a lot of companies that had issues with S110. OS 10. There was a lot of companies that had OS 10 on it, issues with it. And so I wouldn't necessarily say it was Demco. I'd say it might be the material. So, and if you guys are here and you have not, if you have not dropped a like, I'd appreciate it. It would be awesome of you to do so. So I just don't like, it's everything. I don't like the ergos. I don't like the way it feels in my hand. I don't like the blade shape. I don't like the way it transitions down. It's a little too much just all radius, and it is freaking expensive. That's the big thing. Most of the knives, like I can look at a Spyderco knife and be like, I would try that if it was a $90 knife. If this was a $100 knife, I would have bought 10 of these. I would have had 10 of these at this point in my life. It's not. It's a $200 knife that really, like with it being, like I said, in S90V, I'd pay $150. MSRP on this, the DLC coded S90V blade, $275. It's not a $275 knife. This basically, that puts it into that $300 range. When the MSRP for this sprint run in S90V with the god awful teal handles put that at $275 for $25 more. S90V, beautifully milled, great knife. All titanium construction, some of the best action on any knife that has come in, beautifully done and made to look clean and not anything as an afterthought. Amazing. I like, these are in the same ballpark price. You know what I'm saying? I just can't get past it. And then people are like, oh, it's because it's American made. And then I'm always going back and I'm like, look at Hogue. Look at Hogue knives. Hogue knives are making knives that are better looking, better quality, better comfortable than Benchmade at a price well below it. And they're definitely beating Spyderco at the price point. Like, it's on sale right now at Blade HQ for $165. Yes. $165, which is still $15 more than my highest. Like I said, this knife is a $100 knife with it being an S90V. If they had not put the baby blue, baby shit scales on it, I would, if it had come like this color configuration, I would pay $150 for this knife. This is a $150 knife, max. $165 is still $15 more than I think it should be. But it's on sale. You know why it's on sale? Do you know why this is on sale? Because Spyderco is stupid about the color configurations they use for sprint runs. That teal, greenish poop. Does someone at Spyderco just not want those knives to sell? But they're like, well, that delineates it. I'm like, it's not Yu-Gi-Oh cards where you've got varying cards and chromatic covers that people are going to snap up. Just make the knife this color every time and then stamp it with the steel. That's what's going to set it apart. But the Spyderco fan, and this is why I did the video, like, I hate to admit it that I'm a Spyderco fan because that groups me in within what is, in my opinion, the worst group of the knife world are Spyderco fanboys. Spyderco fanboys are the worst in the knife community. They are. Like, you can't talk shit about their, oh, you can't talk shit about Spyderco. And then they fist your comment section and they try to drive people off, and then you can't say anything bad about a Spyderco, and then because they're just like they're like, oh, I got a knife collection, and you look at it and they've got like 15 different Spyderco PM2s in varying colors and like collect them all. And the second you say anything bad about it, they're all over you in your comment section, and they try to fisto you in the booty hole all the way up. And And it's the sprint run craze that has done it. And there's people that have a collection of knives that are 100%, 100% just one knife. I know a guy that has 8 different variations of the same knife. And I'm like, why? Like, you could have bought one knife of that type that you liked and bought a bunch more. That's not a collection. You have one knife. You've just got a bunch of different ones of that knife. So, and I've never it's like anytime you talk about them, anytime you talk about like things, anything that they feel like you're attacking Spyderco, they just mob your comment section, and then they're like, it's like, oh, you can't talk about that, and I'm like, it's the worst common denominator. And I just don't see it. It's just, oh, here we go again with comments not popping up. So apparently somebody posted something that just isn't showing up. So let me my app, the Spyderco's a cult. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, I have one knife, 2, it's the Gecko. I like the Gecko. It's a good knife, and you have to, because one's the large, one's the small. It showed for you, but I can't. What I'm saying is, it's not showing for me. Yeah, people get so upset quickly over Spyderco, and I'm like, I can't deal with. And so for me to say I'm a Spyderco fan puts me in that group. And I have news for you. Most of the Spydercos are not, I mean, they're ugly. This isn't a good looking knife. It's ugly. And a lot of it has to do with a feature that makes them very, very comfortable. The ergos, just because something feels good in your hand doesn't mean it looks good. They're ugly. The Spidey hole that's on them causes this ugly camel's hump on the back that looks like your knife has a tumor. But I have to admit, it makes them incredibly comfortable, because they'll put some really good jimping on it, and that gives you a very, very good grip. And especially on this, where you have like in here, so you can push forward really hard and pull back and really bear down on that knife and get a good solid grip on it. And with that compression lock being so strong, you don't have to worry about snapping shut. Absolutely awesome. But it's ugly. It's hideous. The Spyderco Endura, God, it's ugly. Like, it would not have a date at prom. The Police looks cool with it. It gives it that weird, like, because it's so slender right behind it, it gives it a cool look. That's the only one. Like, that knife would have, like, if Spyderco's were if the knife world was a high school, Spyderco's would be that little table of really unattractive people that just didn't have dates to the prom. They all went stag. They'd be joined by some offshoots like the like the Chess Club of knives, which is like the John Graham, awesome knife maker, but the Graham Razel. And I have to admit, Mr. Norseman would be going stag. He'd be going stag. He'd be in a light blue tuxedo with Chuck Taylors on, sitting at the table in the back, like a throwback to the 70s. He'd be in there. Like, he'd be in there. He would not have a date to the party. So the smock looks good? No, it does not. I hate the smock. There are a few Spydercos that just encapsulate the fact that I don't like Spydercos. The smock is one of them. And it's not that it's unattractive. I have to admit, it's not that it's unattractive. It's that when the knife is closed on the smock, you're going to cut yourself. If you have your thumb in there and you close that knife, have you ever noticed that? Yeah. Right in there. Right in there, like, ooh, I'm bleeding. What about the Warrantac? See, here's the thing. The Warrantac is that... So the Warrantac is like that one dude that was always quiet in class, and you're like, you never really saw him at parties, and he shows up to prom with a really hot chick because he's just that sheer and steady, plain and just down to earth kind of guy. That's the Warrantac. I find the Warrantac to be quite attractive, as a matter of fact. I had a dude like that in my class. Dude was just like, the chicks were like, he's just so plain. He was a really nice guy. He had met some chick. He had met some chick that went to a school, like a different school. He met her at somewhere, like a camp or something. And he showed up. She was like another high school in a different district. And he showed up to our prom with this chick. And she was like cover girl model gorgeous. And I was like, what the fuck happened there? So, Paul Mills, what? Mr. Warrantac would have had a date. So, well, guys, I am going to end this. It's been 111 minutes. We've had a lot of fun. If you haven't dropped a like, I'd appreciate it. If you've got a chance... No, this guy wasn't paying for this date. She was absolutely... We were talking to him and we were like, what the fuck, dude? And she's like, oh yeah, we met at a camp. Met at some camp that their parents all camped at this campgrounds or something. Not like a summer camp, not like band camp or anything. Like where I grew up, there's like campgrounds everywhere. So they met at like summer camp, and like she was the only other kid his age around, and they pretty much started dating. They spent every summer together because their parents always went at the camp. No, not summer camp. Like campground. Like that's camping is like what everybody does where I grew up. So what happened was they met at a campground at like Piedmont Lake. And they met there when they were like in junior high and like every summer, and they just basically, the families were friends and they dated, and once he got his license, he would drive, and they're fucking married, got like 3 kids now. I'm like, holy shit. One of his daughters is 4 years older than mine. And I sent him a picture of my daughter, and he sent me pictures of his kids, and I was like, don't send me pictures of your daughters anymore. You don't. I'm like, she's like 20, and I'm like, Jason, don't send me pictures of your daughter. You don't want me having them thoughts. He's like, what? I was like, you have got some of the most attractive females in your life. Your wife is drop dead gorgeous. Your kids are beautiful. His one boy looks like a fucking underwear model for fucking like Abercrombie and Finch and shit. I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's what happens when you take an average looking person and pair them up with a drop dead gorgeous one. That's why my daughter's so attractive. I'm not the best looking dude and my wife is fucking hot. And that's what happens. You get something that comes out that you're like, I can't ever let her out in public without an armed guard. That's it, guys. I love you all, but I got to end this. I got to shred this chicken, and I got to be out of the kitchen before my wife gets home so that I'm out of her way so she can cook whatever she's making for the kid. And then we've got to get ready and go because my daughter has a skating recital to this evening. So we got to get the dog ready and packed up and everything. So drop a like if you haven't already. If you can drop a super chat, it would be great. I am going to put up a short video that is absolutely just an ad for Coffee Brand Coffee. I'm going to be putting it on my YouTube channel. There is a sale coming up. Coffee Brand Coffee just launched a new flavor, orange creamsicle. Elliot's trying it. I think he should be getting it soon. He's going to tell me if he likes it. I'm not a fan of orange flavored things, so I don't know. But we will check it out. So I got to get all these knives put away. I will see you all later. I love you. Check out the video. There may be, I can't remember if I scheduled a video for today. If not, you'll have a video going up tomorrow at 2:30. Keep in mind, lunchtime is my live feeds. Saturday, I may or may not have a guest. I don't know yet. And I talked with Paul. We are going to resurrect the Peanut Butter and Pickles podcast. We're going to call it Peanut Butter and Pickle Angry Vets Podcast. We're going to do it on I'm going to set up a Rumble channel for it. I'm going to run it so that he doesn't have to worry about it, because Polly is already a very busy person, and, well, I don't have a life. All I do is YouTube. So I will see you guys later. Take it easy. Take care of yourselves. Have a safe and productive rest of the week, and I'll see you Saturday.